So today we're going to learn how to color mix. And so first you're going to get brush and a paint palette. And if your brush is a little bit dirty because somebody didn't clean it before putting it back, just rinse it off. Make sure that there's no more paint on it. See, that comes out clear. So then I'm going to grab a paper towel so I can dry the brush off. And then I'm going to go to the paint pumps and I'm going to get one little pump of blue, one pump of red, and one pump of yellow. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to section out each of the colors. So yellow, red, and blue are primary colors. And the primary colors are what make up most of the other colors. And so you cannot use any two other colors mixed together to make yellow or to make blue or to make red. So these are the colors that we're going to use to make all of the other colors. So I sectioned them out and I'm cleaning my brush in between. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of blue with a glob of yellow, and then it's going to make green. And then what I'm going to do from there is I'm going to take some green, scoop it over, and get a little bit of blue and mix those together. And then that will make blue-green. And then I'm going to clean my brush. And then what I'm going to do next is take a little tiny baby dot of blue, and I'm going to mix it with yellow. And then that will make yellow-green. Yellow is not very highly pigmented, but yet blue and red are. So when you are mixing blue and red with yellow, you really do not need very much blue. You really do not need very much yellow. So to make orange, I had, a glob of yellow and then a little tiny glob of red, and then I made orange. And then I'm gonna make yellow orange and just making sure that my brush is clean so I'm not contaminating the colors. And I just took a tiny, tiny, tiny dot of red to make the yellow orange. And then when I'm done getting that all mixed up, I am going to make the next color on the color wheel. And so I'm going to take some yellow and then more red because I want it to be a red orange. So I want it to be a bit darker than the other orange. And so I went and got a little bit more yellow so that I can make the red orange properly. And so it's going to be about equal amounts of red and yellow, and it'll make a red orange. And do you see how it just progressively is getting darker as I'm going along? So then my brush is clean now, and I'm going to mix purple and red, I'm gonna mix blue and red, and it's gonna make purple, but I did not use even amounts of blue and red. I had more red than I did blue, so it made a red violet. So then now I'm gonna use equal amounts of red and blue, and then that's going to make a very neutral purple. Okay. And then for the next color that I'm going to make, I'm going to use a little bit of red and I'm going to use more blue than I'm going to use red so that it can be a blue violet. And then that is how I made all of the colors for the color wheel. So all of the colors that are the dual name colors, like yellow, green, yellow, orange, red, violet, blue, violet, blue, green, all of those colors are tertiary colors. And so those are the colors that you make when you mix primary and secondary colors. The secondary colors are when you mix two primary colors. And so the primary colors again are red, yellow, blue. And so when you mix any primary colors to get orange, purple, and green, that's secondary colors. So now what I'm doing is I'm just mixing the colors that I want for my stamp. And so I am mixing the colors with white. And so I'm mixing that blue, green with white to get a teal. And then earlier I mixed some of the red with some white to get a pink, but I wanted it to be more peachy, so then I added yellow as well. So then now what I'm doing is I am just mixing a bunch of the colors with white to try and get different lighter pastel colors. So like that one's lavender and it was just purple and white. And I'm making sure I'm cleaning my brush in between each one as well. And then now I'm going to add black to this one because I want it to be a little bit darker, and black makes your colors darker. And so if you're like, hey, that's a little bit too dark, I kind of want to lighten it up a little bit, you can definitely, you know, take some white to it and see what color it makes, but it will make it look more pastel colored, okay? So then now that I have my colors, I'm gonna paint my stamp, and I wanna mix my colors on my stamp so it doesn't have to be, you know, one even color across the whole thing. I want it to kind of be like a little bit of a spectrum, and so I'm putting, you know, orange towards the top and, you know, purple towards the bottom, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try this a different way. And so I'm doing that purpley color towards the top instead of the bottom, and I'm just kind of like seeing like how I like it. And then when I find a combination that works, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint that on all of the petals. So then now I'm just cleaning the paint off because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do something else. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to have on one side of my paintbrush, it's going to have purple, and on one side it's going to have orange, so that I could just swipe the stamp and it can just be really, really fast. So when I'm loading my paintbrush with paint, just on one side of the brush I'm putting that purple, and on one side of the brush I'm putting that orange, and then it's just real fast. I just swipe the stamp real quick, and then I can stamp the flower. So that's basically all that I was doing, and just color mixing. And to make brown, you want to mix complementary colors. So purple and yellow are across from each other on the color wheel, and they will make brown, but so will blue and orange and green and red. So now I'm just putting all of the colors that I want, and I'm going to make the plant stamp on a fresh piece of paper, and I'm going to paint the petal using that technique of using one color on one part of the brush and another color on another part of the brush, and then I'm just going to swipe it on, and then I'm just going to stamp it on. And so when you are stamping, you kind of want to do that motion that I'm doing, where you go kind of like from side to side or front to back. That way you can make sure that you're getting all of the parts of the stamp stamped evenly. But sometimes when you do that, the glue is not really adhered to the cork very well, and your cork can fall off of your stamp, or your stamp fall off the cork. So definitely be wary of that, because that's a very high possibility that that might happen. And so now I'm trying to make my leaf look more realistic and kind of have like an ombre effect, so that it's like darker towards the bottom and then it is lighter towards the top. But see, my stamp broke. And I was like, well, I got one leaf at least. So I'm just really quickly just doing another leaf, and I'll glue that on another time. But sometimes the back of the stamp is just a little bit too powdery, so the hot glue doesn't stay. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye, y'all.